They got it.
Okay, this video is from 5 years ago, and uh, it's Joey's dad. And I did a reaction video the other day for my conversation with Joey. Well, this is Joey's father now, who is the rancher. Okay, so without further ado, here we go. Okay, Calamity Girl again, and I'm here with John, and he is just sharing with me some information that is wow. So, John, can I ask you to repeat a couple of things? Okay, just remember that during this time when this was filmed, this was during the height of COVID. If you would,
Yeah.
could you tell me about do you trust anybody?
Well, I haven't found the person.
Can you talk a little louder?
I haven't found the person yet.
You have not found the person yet. Okay. You started to go, oh, there's a little bum leg. Uh-oh. Is he okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, you started to talk about we're driving around and looking at the cows and making sure that everybody is okay. The right people, finding the right people, and how it actually affects the cows. Can you tell me again about the right people?
Well, they just got to be willing to put in the time and learn and have their eyes open to. I'm not saying anything we do here is the right way, but what we are doing at the moment works for us.
Okay.
And you got to be flexible and open to a suggestion of a different way of doing something. Just because you've always done it this way, or your granddaddy did it this way, it doesn't matter. This ranch right next to us, you can't see, it's just over the hill, but they do things completely differently than we do. They're successful. The guys on the other end of us, they do things differently than we do. They're successful.
Mm-hmm.
But whether their way is right or my way is right isn't, or our way is right, isn't necessarily the argument. It's what their situation is and what their ground is, what works for them to make a profitable enterprise. What he's talking about here is that there's so many different ways of ranching, and not one way is right. You know, there's what is that old saying that there's 7 ways to skin a cat or something like that? Rise off of their ground. You started to tell me a little bit earlier about you started to vent. And that's when I grabbed my camera and I said, okay, if you could say anything to anybody about all of this, what would you say to just because people don't know? So you were saying that people protest. You talked about that. It's people are so damn far. I mean, most people they didn't have to grow their own food. Their parents didn't have to take care of their own food. Their grandparents might not have had to raise their own food, and we're so far removed from that chain right now that nobody realizes this is where it comes from. They just think these are all pets, but the reality of it is that these cows would not.
Phone ring.
These cows wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have any of these things if it wasn't to produce them for food. They're not pets. We take care of them to sell them on a market the same as if it was a zucchini or a cabbage or a fucking. Excuse the language. I didn't know that an F bomb was going to fly. So, but anyway, like his 10-year-old son was telling me in the other video that I did that, so many people think that, oh, there's such a cute little, little thing, but it's not a cute little thing. That calf is their livelihood and other people's livelihoods. And so they're explaining the circle of life in a different way. Plant. It's the same thing. I mean,
you think of them, yes, they are different in that they are a living, breathing creature, but that's what makes them more difficult to keep alive because they don't necessarily want to stay right here. There's green grass on the other side of that fence. Let's go bust down that fence. But they're not allowed to be out there because there's other stuff out there, or maybe that's somebody else's land for their cows. So they can't go over there.
Mm-hmm.
Your zucchini will stay right there if you plant it there. So these
Mm-hmm.
are more difficult. But I would say to anybody who wants to protest, and I'm not saying that everybody does, takes really good care of their cows and loves them to a degree, but and there because there are places out there that don't do a good job. They're in it to win it. They want to make. They're trying to make money and or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But there's more people that aren't. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and there's more people that do it because they like it and that it's a profitable means to live. And I get to be out here every damn day, all
Mm-hmm.
year round, rain, snow, whatever, and everybody else could sit in their office. So I guess if you want to protest, that you should
What he's talking about regarding protests, at least at this time, there were a lot of protests against the meat industry. And so, and that had uh, obviously had an effect on him. So he wants to speak what he thinks about that.
eat meat. You should educate yourself on what people go through in order to provide that meat because it's not all. I mean, yes, there are things that happen that are bad. You know, cows break legs, people break legs,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't mend a cow's leg. They don't know that they're broken. Sometimes you can get real lucky. I've had calves that I've broke legs and I've built casts for, and they got around
Really?
and survived. But that's all they did was survive. Their quality of life wasn't any good. They don't have
Mm-hmm.
anybody to take care of them but their mom, and their mom's kind of an idiot.
Yeah, cows aren't the smartest things in the
They,
drawer, are they?
there's only a handful of them that'll sit there and lay down with a calf that's sick or dying, or and stay there if they don't get what they if they're not getting what they need. That's they're to a degree they're I mean they're domesticated, but they're animals. They're me first. You know, I'm
Yeah.
going to take care of you as long as I can, but once it gets to the
Mm-hmm.
point where I can't take care of myself, bye
Yeah.
bye. And that's where we step in. We've got to be
Very interesting. I think that that's very interesting what he talked about with, mending the calf's legs, or I went on a couple of rides with him where we saw some calves that weren't doing that great, and he had to play vet. And he jumped out there, and it was raining and it was cold. It doesn't matter. A rancher never gets a day off.
there to take make sure that animal doesn't get left behind. And it
Mm-hmm.
does happen. I mean, when you're looking at this chunk of BLM here that we use is like 6 sections, which is a section is a square mile.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Okay.
lot of
Oh, it's sections a square mile.
so it's a lot of ground to cover, and there's little spots and nooks and crannies all over the place. One could lay down and get sick and die, and you never see it. You don't like that happens, but it does. So I don't know. I guess if you're going to protest people taking cows to slaughterhouses and things like that, you should educate yourself. And just because you want to be a vegetarian or vegan because you don't want to eat it, that's great. But it's don't push your stuff on me because that's not where we came from.
Mm-hmm. So, John, if people could actually say to you, I didn't know that this is what
Mm-hmm.
life was like for a rancher, and to thank you for all the hard work that you guys do to provide to grow our food so that we can eat, what would you say back to them instead of just you're welcome? What would you say?
I don't know. I don't use so many words, I guess, but
Okay.
it would be
um would you
yeah. I mean,
welcome?
if you bring in a legitimate argument, if I don't know, it's a thank you, and I don't know. I think it's everybody needs to do something for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody takes anything away from it, it shouldn't be thank me. It should be, well, you should thank yourself because you've learned something and you've opened your own mind to
Mm-hmm.
something that you don't understand.
Yeah. Can I come back on your ranch and learn a little more?
Yeah.
I can with my camera. Thank you. Thanks for this time, John.
Wow. I had forgotten all about that. And after I did the reaction from watching his son, Joey, then I knew I had to do this reaction because I remember it, And but hearing what he has to say, uh he's growing our food. Those aren't cute little animals. That's our food. So big difference. So, but everybody has their opinion. So I would like to know what you thought of that. And please put it in the comments because I read every comment and I answer them. And so thank you so much for watching this video and learning a little bit with me too. See you later.